My child, don't scroll away. Not yet. Because what I'm about to tell you may explain everything you've been living through. For a long time, you have been asking questions that seem to have no answers. Why did it hurt this much? Why did the waiting last this long? Why did the battles keep coming one after another? Why did it feel like every time you stood up, something tried to knock you back down again? You asked those questions in silence. Sometimes through tears. Sometimes through exhaustion. Sometimes while staring into the darkness long after everyone else had gone to sleep. And today, I am here to answer them. But before I do, I need you to hear something with your whole heart. You survived. You are still here. You may not feel strong. You may not feel victorious. You may not even recognize the person you've become after everything you've endured. But you survived. And there is a reason for that. A reason the enemy hoped you would never discover. Stay with me. Because what I reveal next could completely change the way you see your entire story. My child, I know what you've been carrying. I know about the smile you wear for other people. The one that hides the exhaustion underneath. I know about the conversations you never had because you didn't know how to explain what was happening inside you. I know about the nights when your mind refused to rest. The nights when fear sat beside your bed. The nights when anxiety whispered worst-case scenarios into your thoughts. The nights when you felt completely alone. You told everyone you were okay. But I heard the truth behind your silence. I heard the prayers you couldn't even put into words. I heard the sighs. I heard the trembling. I heard the moments when your heart quietly cried out, "Jesus, I can't keep doing this." And every time you said that, I was there. Closer than you realized. Closer than your next breath. Closer than the tears rolling down your face. I never left. Not once. If you believe this message found you for a reason, type Amen in the comments below. Not for me. I already know your heart. Do it as a declaration of faith. A declaration that says, "Jesus, I am still here." Because the enemy spent years trying to convince you otherwise. My child, what you thought was merely hardship was often warfare. Not every battle you faced came from circumstances. Some came because darkness recognized something about you before you recognized it yourself. You thought you were under attack because you were weak. But the truth is, you were under attack because you carry something valuable. There is purpose inside you. There is calling inside you. There is influence inside you. There is a future inside you that heaven has been protecting. And what happens next is the part the enemy never wanted you to hear. Many of the battles that nearly broke you are actually evidence that you are moving closer to your destiny. The closer you move toward healing, the stronger the resistance became. The closer you move toward freedom, the heavier the pressure felt. The closer you move toward becoming who I created you to be, the more opposition appeared. You thought something was wrong with you. But what if the resistance was proof that something was right? What if the attacks weren't signs of failure? What if they were signs that your breakthrough was approaching? Think about it. The enemy doesn't waste energy attacking empty ground. He attacks what threatens him. And my child, you are a threat to darkness. You don't see yourself that way. But heaven does. There were moments when you almost gave up. Moments nobody knows about. Moments you stood at the edge of surrender. Moments when disappointment felt heavier than hope. Moments when you questioned whether your prayers were reaching heaven at all. You remember those moments. I remember them too. Because I was holding you together while you were falling apart. You thought you survived because you were strong enough. No. You survived because my hand never left your life. There were storms you never saw because I blocked them. There were dangers you never recognized because I redirected them. There were doors you begged me to open that I intentionally kept closed. One day you will understand why. But not yet. Because before you understand what I protected you from, you first need to understand how deeply I love you. My child. Love is not proven when everything goes right. Love is proven when someone stays. And I stayed. When people walked away, I stayed. When answers didn't come, I stayed. When your faith grew weak, I stayed. When you stopped believing in yourself, I stayed. When your prayers sounded more like tears than words, I stayed. And I am still here. Right now. Speaking directly to your heart. Can you feel it? That small stirring inside you? That feeling you see, not fully explain? That isn't coincidence. That isn't emotion. That is my presence reminding your soul of something it desperately needed to remember. You are not abandoned. You never were. But there is another truth I need to reveal. And most people never discover it. The season that wounded you also transformed you. I know you wish some of it never happened. I understand. I saw every painful moment. Every betrayal. Every disappointment. Every delay. Every unanswered question. But look at who you have become. You have more compassion now. More wisdom. More discernment. More strength. You pray differently now. You see people differently now. You understand pain differently now. The fire did not destroy you. It refined you. The storm did not erase you. It revealed you. The battle did not end your story. It prepared you for your next chapter. And what I am about to reveal next may be exactly what your heart has been waiting to hear. The season you thought would last forever is reaching its end. Not because you earned it. Not because you finally became perfect. Not because you figured everything out. But because I have been preparing something new. Something you cannot fully see yet. Something already moving behind the scenes. Doors are being aligned. People are being positioned. Timing is being arranged. Answers are getting closer. And while you cannot see the entire picture, heaven already can. That is why I need you to hold on a little longer. Do not let discouragement make decisions for you. Do not let fear tell you the story is over. Do not let temporary pain convince you of permanent defeat. Because your story is not ending. It is turning. The chapter is changing. The breakthrough is closer than you think. And in the next part of this message, I am going to reveal the hidden interventions that protected you from disasters you never knew existed. I will show you why certain doors closed. Why certain people left. Why certain prayers seemed unanswered. And why what looked like rejection was often divine protection. But before we continue, take a moment and breathe. Let these words settle into your spirit. And remember this. You survived every battle because I was carrying you through it. You survived every storm because heaven refused to let you drown. You survived every attack because your purpose is greater than your pain. And my child, I am not finished with your story. Not even close. My child, come closer. Because now I want to show you something you could never see while you were living through it. I want to pull back the curtain. I want to reveal what was happening behind the scenes while you were crying, praying, waiting, and wondering if I had forgotten you. I know there were moments when life made no sense. Moments when doors slammed shut without warning. Moments when relationships ended and left you staring at pieces of a future you thought would last forever. Moments when opportunities disappeared right before your eyes. Moments when prayers seemed to rise toward heaven and return unanswered. You looked at those moments and called them losses. You called them failures. You called them disappointments. But what if I told you many of those moments were actually rescues? Stay with me, because this truth has the power to heal wounds you've carried for years. My child, there are things I protected you from that you still know nothing about. Conversations that happened behind closed doors. Decisions made by people you trusted. Paths that looked promising but led toward destruction. Traps hidden beneath opportunities that seemed perfect. You only saw the surface. I saw the future. You saw the invitation. I saw the consequence. You saw the open door. I saw what was waiting behind it. And because I love you, I stepped in. Sometimes quietly. Sometimes invisibly. Sometimes in ways that frustrated you. There were relationships you begged me to save. You cried over them. Prayed over them. Fought for them. You thought losing those people meant losing part of your future. But my child, not everyone assigned to a season is assigned to a lifetime. Some people entered your story to teach lessons. Others entered to reveal strengths you didn't know you possessed. Others exposed wounds I wanted to heal. But they were never meant to remain forever. I know their departure hurt. I know it felt personal. I know you replayed conversations in your mind 1,000 times, wondering what you could have done differently, wondering if you weren't enough, wondering if you somehow caused it. But hear me clearly. Their leaving was not proof of your lack of value. Their leaving was often part of my protection. Because where I am taking you, certain people cannot go. And what I reveal next may finally explain why some prayers seem to receive no answer. My child, you called it silence. I see. I'll let it preparation. You thought I wasn't responding. Meanwhile, I was rearranging things you couldn't see. There were times you asked me for immediate answers. Immediate breakthroughs. Immediate changes. Immediate relief. And because you could not see what I was doing, my timing felt cruel. But my timing has never been cruel. It has always been precise. You wanted quick relief. I was building lasting transformation. You wanted immediate comfort. I was preparing permanent growth. You wanted the pain to disappear. I wanted the wound to heal completely. There is a difference. And most people quit before they discover it. That is why I need you to keep listening. Because what comes next may change how you view every delay you have ever experienced. My child, do you remember those seasons when it felt like nothing was happening? When every day looked the same? When progress seemed invisible? When prayers felt stuck? When life felt suspended between what was and what could be? Those seasons were not empty. They were sacred. Because while you saw waiting, I saw building. While you saw delay, I saw development. While you saw nothing changing, heaven was moving pieces into place. Roots were growing beneath the surface. Faith was deepening. Character was strengthening. Discernment was sharpening. And most importantly, you were becoming someone capable of carrying the blessing you were asking for. Because if I had given you certain things too early, they would have crushed you instead of helping you. You prayed for elevation. I first had to build stability. You prayed for influence. I first had to develop wisdom. You prayed for open doors. I first had to strengthen your identity. The blessing wasn't being withheld. You were being prepared. And there is a powerful truth many never understand. Preparation often feels exactly like delay. But they are not the same thing. One is punishment. The other is love. One leaves you stuck. The other gets you ready. And my child, you were never abandoned. You were being prepared. If these words are speaking directly into your life right now, type Jesus is with me in the comments. Not because I need proof, but because sometimes your spirit needs to hear your own faith speaking. There is power in declaring what fear tried to silence. Now listen carefully, because I am about to reveal something the enemy hoped you would never realize. The very battles had nearly convinced you to quit became the tools that used to build you. That anxiety taught you how desperately you need me. That loneliness taught you where true companionship comes from. That disappointment taught you not to place your identity in temporary things. That waiting season taught you trust. That heartbreak taught you wisdom. That struggle taught you endurance. You wanted escape. I was creating strength. You wanted removal. I was creating resilience. You wanted shortcuts. I was creating maturity. And now you stand stronger than you realize. Wiser than you realize. More spiritually aware than you realize. The version of you reading this message today is not the same person who entered that dark season. You have changed. The fire transformed you. The pressure transformed you. The waiting transformed you. The tears transformed you. And now something is beginning to awaken inside your spirit. Can you feel it? That small spark of hope returning. That subtle feeling that maybe your story isn't over. That quiet belief that something better might still be ahead. That is not wishful thinking. That is me. Reminding you of who you are. Reminding you of who I created you to become. Reminding you that your future is not determined by your worst season. Your future is determined by my promises. And my promises have not changed. Not because circumstances changed. Not because people changed. But because I do not change. What I spoke over your life still stands. What I promised still stands. What I planned still stands. Even after the disappointments. Even after the betrayals. Even after the delays. Even after the tears. And very soon, you are going to begin seeing evidence of what heaven has been doing all along. Pieces will start connecting. Answers will start appearing. Doors will start opening. Strength will start returning. Peace will start settling into places that have been filled with fear for years. The healing has already begun. The restoration has already begun. The shift has already begun. But stay with me, because the most important revelation is still ahead. In the next part of this message, I am going to reveal why the attacks became stronger right before your breakthrough. Why darkness seems so determined to stop you. Why heaven never stopped fighting for you. And why the season ahead will look completely different from the one behind you. For now, remember this. Every closed door was not rejection. Every delay was not abandonment. Every unanswered prayer was not neglect. Sometimes the greatest evidence of my love is not what I allow into your life. It is what I keep out. And my child, I have been protecting you far more than you know. My child, now I need you to hear the truth that explains the battle. The truth that explains why the pressure became so intense. The truth that explains why you felt attacked from every direction at once. Because for a long time, you thought something was wrong with you. You thought you were failing. You thought you were weak. You thought your faith wasn't strong enough. You thought you were somehow disappointing me. But that was never the truth. The truth is this. The closer you came to your breakthrough, the louder the resistance became. The closer you came to healing, the harder darkness fought. The closer you came to freedom, the more the enemy tried to convince you to quit. Because the enemy often attacks hardest when he knows his time is running out. And my child, his time is running out. That is why some of your greatest battles arrived right before your greatest growth. That is why fear suddenly intensified when you started trusting me more. That is why confusion rose when clarity was near. That is why discouragement appeared when hope was beginning to awaken. The enemy was not fighting your present. He was fighting your future. He saw what was coming long before you did. He saw the healing. He saw the restoration. He saw the peace. He saw the confidence. He saw the freedom. He saw the person you would become once you finally stopped believing his lies. And that frightened him. Because darkness cannot stop what I have ordained. It can only try to delay it. It can only try to discourage you from reaching it. But hear me carefully. You made it through. You are still standing. You are still breathing. You are still seeking me. Which means every plan formed against your destiny has failed. Every single one. Think about how many times you should have broken completely. Think about how many nights felt impossible. How many disappointments pile on top of each other. How many wounds cut deeper than anyone knew. Yet here you are. Still listening. Still believing. Still reaching toward me. That is not weakness. That is evidence of my hand upon your life. And now I want to tell you something your heart desperately needs to hear. You are not who the pain said you were. You are not who fear said you were. You are not who rejection said you were. You are not who failure said you were. You are who I say you are. You are loved. You are chosen. You are protected. You are seen. You are valuable. You are called. You are mine. For too long, pain tried to become your identity. For too long, disappointment tried to define your future. For too long, fear tried to narrate your story. But today, those voices lose their authority. Today, I remind you of the truth. You are not the broken pieces. You are not the wounds. You are not the mistakes. You are not the chapters that hurt. Those things happened to you. They are not you. Your identity was never created by your suffering. It was created by me. Before the heartbreak. Before the betrayal. Before the waiting. Before the battles. I knew you. I loved you. I chose you. And nothing that happened along the way changed that. Nothing. Not one failure. Not one wrong turn. Not one painful season. Not one tear. My child, there is something beautiful beginning inside you right now. The weight is lifting. The fear is loosening. The darkness is losing its grip. The old season is releasing you, and the new one is welcoming you. I know you cannot see everything yet. I know there are still unanswered questions. I know there are still areas where you want immediate change. But trust me, you do not need to see the entire road to take the next step. You only need to trust the one leading you. And I am leading you. I have always been leading you. Even in seasons when you thought you were wandering. Even in seasons when nothing made sense. Even in seasons when heaven felt silent. I was guiding you. Step by step. Breath by breath. Tear by tear. All the way to this moment. And now, the chapter is changing. Not because life will suddenly become perfect. Not because challenges will never come again. But because you are entering a season where you will finally recognize my hand in ways you never had before. You will begin seeing evidence of prayers being answered. You will begin seeing doors opening. You will begin seeing healing where pain once lived. You will begin seeing peace where anxiety once ruled. You will begin seeing purpose emerge from places that once seemed meaningless. You will look back and realize that I was working the entire time. You will realize that what felt like abandonment was actually preparation. What felt like delay was actually alignment. What felt like loss was often protection. What felt like silence was strategy. And what felt like the end was actually a beginning. Before we finish, I want to pray over you. Open your heart. Receive these words. My child, I pray that every burden weighing down your spirit would be lifted. I pray that fear would lose its hold over your mind. I pray that anxiety would surrender to peace. I pray that wounds carried for years would begin to heal. I pray that every lie spoken over your life would be replaced by truth. I pray that strength would rise where exhaustion has lived. I pray that hope would return where disappointment has lingered. I pray that clarity would come where confusion has clouded your vision. I pray that you would feel my presence in a deeper way than ever before. I pray that you would recognize how loved you are, how valued you are, how protected you are, how deeply heaven cares for you. And I pray that when fear tries to return, you will remember this moment. You will remember that I am with you. You will remember that I have not abandoned you. You will remember that your story is still unfolding. My child, before you leave, write, Jesus is with me. Let those words become your declaration. And if these words touched your heart today, share this message with someone carrying a burden they were never meant to carry alone. Subscribe and stay connected to these messages. Not because of a channel, not because of a video, but because faith grows when believers walk together. And now let me leave you with this truth. The enemy told you it was over, but he was wrong. The pain is ending. The healing is beginning. The waiting is shifting. The breakthrough is approaching. The chapter is turning. And the best part of your story has not been written yet. I have not forgotten you. I never will. I am still working. I am still leading. I am still restoring. I am still opening doors. I am still making a way. And my child, I am with you. I always have been. I always will be.